There's a legal structure that costs less than $200 to create and completely separates your name from every asset you own, your real estate, your bank accounts, your vehicles, your investments, all of it owned by an entity that cannot be traced back to you through any public record search. Not through a shell company in the Cayman Islands, not through an offshore trust in Switzerland, through a domestic LLC filed in a state that legally prohibits the disclosure of owner identities. The filing is public. The entity is registered. Fortune 500 corporations and billionaire investors use this structure every single day, and it is available to any American citizen for the cost of a dinner. Wyoming passed the first LLC statute in the United States in 1977. Delaware refined it into the most business-friendly legal framework in the world. Both states allow the formation of limited liability companies without listing the owner's name anywhere in the public record. No name on the articles of organization, no name in the state database, no name accessible through any court search or creditor investigation. You exist behind a legal wall that only a court order issued by a judge with specific cause can penetrate. In practice, that almost never happens. Then the legal industry realized something that threatened its most profitable service line. The average American pays between $5,000 and $5,000 defending a single lawsuit. Asset protection attorneys charge $1,000 to $25,000 to build complex multi-entity structures for high net worth clients. A $200 LLC filing in Wyoming that achieves 90% of the same protection for 1% of the cost is not a product the legal industry wants you to discover. They did not stop using anonymous LLCs because they stopped working. They stopped telling middle-class Americans about them because the middle class was their most profitable market for complex, overpriced alternatives. This is the story of the anonymous LLC. The Legal Shield billionaires file in 15 minutes, and the asset protection industry prays you never learn to file yourself. Welcome to Channel. If these stories matter to you, hit subscribe and the bell. This is where we open the files the fine print was designed to bury. Now let me take you back to where this legal vehicle was born. The concept of limited liability is not a modern invention. It is one of the most consequential legal innovations in the history of commerce. In 1811, the state of New York passed the first general incorporation statute in American history, allowing businesses to form without a special act of the legislature. The core principle was revolutionary. The owners of a business entity are not personally liable for the debts and obligations of that entity. Before 1811, if your business failed, creditors could seize your home, your land, your personal belongings, and even imprison you. After 1811, the business was a separate legal person. Its debts were its own, but corporations were expensive to maintain. Boards of directors, shareholder meetings, annual reports, and complex filings. In 1977, Wyoming created something simpler, the limited liability company. Same liability protection as a corporation, tax simplicity of a partnership, operational flexibility of a sole proprietorship, no board required, no shareholder meetings, no annual reports in most states, one document, one filing fee. Full legal separation between you and your assets. Wyoming went further. They did not require the owner's name to appear anywhere in the formation documents. The articles of organization list only the LLC name and the registered agent. The actual owner called the members recorded only in the private operating agreement. That document is not filed with any state agency. It sits in your cabinet at home. Delaware followed with its own version optimized for legal flexibility. Nevada added similar protections with charging order limitations, making it nearly impossible for a creditor to seize LLC membership interests, even with a judgment. The concept has deep roots. In medieval Italy, the Commenda Agreement allowed merchant investors to fund trade voyages without personal liability. In 17th century England, the Joint Stock Company created the same separation for colonial ventures. The East India Company, the Hudson Bay Company, and every major colonial trading enterprise operate on the principle that the entity's obligations do not flow to the individual owners. The LLC is simply the modern evolution of a legal principle that has protected wealth for over 500 years. Before I go further, everything I have revealed barely scratches the surface of what has been hidden from ordinary Americans. I spent months gathering the asset protection strategies, the legal structures, and the financial defense techniques that the wealthy use and that nobody teaches to the middle class. All of it is inside the complete vault. The anonymous LLC formation guide with state-by-state comparison. The spendthrift trust blueprint. The debt validation letter, the homestead protection filing, the tax strategy that eliminates 5 figures from your IRS bill, over 10 guides in one place, no filler, straight to the point. The link is in the description right now. But stay here because what comes next explains why this structure terrifies every plaintiff's attorney in America. Here is how anonymous LLCs protect you at the legal level. When someone sues you personally, the first thing their attorney does is run an asset search. They check county property records for real estate in your name. They check vehicle registrations. They check business filings and bank records tied to your social security number. If everything is in your personal name, every asset appears on a list and becomes a target. Now imagine every asset is owned by an LLC. Your rental property is titled to Mountain View Holdings LLC. Your investment account is in the name of Cedar Ridge Capital LLC. When the plaintiff's attorney runs the search on your name, they find nothing, no property, no accounts. You appear judgment-proof. And that appearance alone prevents the vast majority of lawsuits from ever being filed. Plaintiff's attorneys work on contingency. They only get paid if they collect. If a preliminary search shows an empty target, most attorneys advise their client to drop the case before spending a dime. The American Bar Association published research showing that over 70% of personal injury lawsuits are evaluated based on the defendant's visible asset profile before a complaint is even filed. An anonymous LLC does not just protect your assets after a judgment, it prevents the lawsuit from ever happening. If you have made it this far, you already know more about legal asset concealment than 99% of Americans who have every dollar sitting in their personal name waiting to become a target. Subscribe and share this with someone who has worked too hard to lose it all. Everything the legal industry reserved for the wealthy is inside the vault. Link in the description. Now stay with me, because this is exactly how to do it. Step 1. Choose your state. Wyoming is the gold standard. Filing fee $100. Annual report $60. No state income tax, no requirement to list member names. Delaware is preferred for larger business operations due to its court of chancery specializing in business disputes. Nevada offers strong charging order protection but higher fees. Step 2. File articles of organization with the state. You can do this online in under 15 minutes. You need a registered agent in that state. Agent services cost $50 to $100 per year. Step 3. Draft an operating agreement. This private document names you as the member and outlines operations. It is not filed with any state agency. Step 4. Obtain an EIN from the IRS for free on their website in 5 minutes. Use it to open bank accounts in the LLC name. Step 5. Transfer assets into the LLC. Retitle real estate by deed. Open bank accounts using the EIN. Register vehicles to the LLC where allowed. Each asset that moves out of your personal name disappears from your personal asset profile. Total cost for a Wyoming anonymous LLC. Approximately $200 to $400 one time plus $60 per year. Compare that to an asset protection attorney charging $10,000 to $25,000. Compare that to a single lawsuit judgment averaging $54,000. Compare that to holding a $300,000 rental property in your personal name, where one tenant lawsuit puts a lien on your home, your car, and your savings. Now, I need to be completely honest about the limitations. An anonymous LLC does not protect you from the IRS. The IRS knows who owns every LLC through the EIN application and your tax filings. This is asset protection, not tax evasion. Transferring assets into an LLC after a lawsuit has been filed can be voided as a fraudulent transfer. You must plan ahead. If you are the sole member and do not treat the LLC as a separate entity, courts can pierce the liability protection. Separate bank accounts, separate records, no commingling personal and business funds. Anonymity has limits. A judge can order disclosure through subpoena with sufficient legal cause. Some states, including California and New York, require LLCs operating within their borders to register as foreign entities, which can reduce the anonymity benefit. The legal services industry generates over $350 billion annually. A significant portion comes from litigation and asset protection services marketed to middle-class Americans who do not know that a $200 filing provides the foundation of the same protection the wealthy have used for decades. The more complex your legal structure, the more an attorney can bill. A $200 LLC is bad for business. A $15,000 multi-entity network is a revenue dream. The knowledge exists. The filing is public. The forms are online. The cost is minimal. The only barrier between you and legal asset anonymity is the fact that nobody who profits from your vulnerability has any reason to tell you it exists. If this vault changed how you see the assets sitting exposed in your personal name, right now, subscribe and share this video. Every share puts knowledge into hands the legal industry priced out of reach. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside protects the one thing no LLC can replace. Corte Acqui. There is a one-page legal document that